So occasionally in a medical interview, you can get an absolute curveball, a question where you are asked to answer something that just sounds very strange and not normally the kind of thing you would expect in a medical interview. I'm talking questions like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? If you were an animal, what would you be? If you were a kitchen utility, what would you be? There's a long list of plenty of other weird questions. I think that the particular type of question, if it sounds very sort of out there, doesn't really matter all that much. Usually they're being asked to test your ability to handle just a different kind of information. So they're throwing you this alternative thing and they're assessing what your response to that is. And usually a good candidate will be able to get the question and not have it completely throw them off their perch and just respond by going, oh, that's really different. I'm not used to answering these kinds of questions, and try to stumble through it. So the most important part to answering these questions well is to have good confidence with it. So if you get asked something very strange, you just want to have a little bit of a think. Again, as we mentioned in a previous video, it's absolutely fine to sit and have a little bit of a think before you give your response. And when you're ready to answer, go ahead and just clearly and emphatically put across what you would say. Alongside this, you don't necessarily need to make these weird questions medical. If you get asked what's your favorite TV show or what's your favorite food, and you respond by saying, my favorite food is a peach, and that's much like being a doctor, that's not going to make sense. These are some of the only questions where you can't actually drag it into how is this relevant to medicine. You just have to answer the question as it is. So let's go for an example answer of what is your favorite food? So my favorite food is scrambled tofu. Now, I have a vegan diet and that limits the type of food that I tend to eat. I really like scrambled tofu because it is absolutely delicious. I have it for breakfast every Saturday. I only learned how to make this meal about a year and a half ago to maybe 2 years ago. And it's just, it's this meal that I can just eat over and over again. For example, me and my partner on a Saturday morning, we will sit down and our treat breakfast will actually be scrambled tofu. And we can do that for many months on end. And when you're having the same food at the same time every week, over and over again for an extended period of time, you'd have to really like the food for that to be the case, for you to want to actually have it over and over again. So I would say that is why scrambled tofu is my favorite food. So you can see there that had nothing to do with medicine, and it was just answering the question honestly. It doesn't matter what question you get asked, you just want to pause, have a think about it, and answer as honestly and as candidly as you can. The main key to these questions is to be confident. When you get asked these strange questions, they are basically just there to throw you off and try and confuse you, and they're essentially trying to see if you will easily get confused and if you'll easily sort of stumble on these questions. If you're able to get these alternative questions thrown at you, doesn't matter what they are. They could be, oh, what's your favorite kind of wood, or what kind of plant would you be, or anything. Just because they're a bit weird, you just need to pause, have a think, and make sure that when you answer, you're doing it confidently and concisely, the same way you would any other question. You just don't want to stumble. So like we said previously, the best way to handle these questions is to practice thoroughly. So make sure you've got a good list of long, weird questions. Just have a quick Google on the internet, medicine interview questions that are very weird. Get a long list of a number of different questions, maybe sort of 50, and make sure that you spend some specific time answering these weird questions. You want to be able to dot from question to question, because that's what you'll have to do on the day. You could get asked any other weird question and you need to be able to handle them well.